Hey guys, it's Nobody James, and this is my new and improved zombie deck profile. Let's get into it, let's say. This deck has become a lot more competitive since my last version, and also we've upgraded it to have no proxies, so yeah. To begin with our boss monsters, we're playing 2 Eldlich. Everyone loves Eldlich, or hates him. Eldlich lets you discard him plus 1 spell or trap, just target a card on your opponent's field and send it to the graveyard. This is great. He can also come back by sending a spell or trap in your control to the grave. Pretty standard. Next, you're still running Doom King, except I dropped him to 1. I don't know if I actually had him at more than 1, but he's a walking negate and banish when a zombie's effect activates, which is really good. Still the one Jack-o'-Bolin, because Jack-o'-Bolin can stop your opponent's graveyard activity, or just get you back things you want. Plus, he's a discard to special himself, so that's nice. We're no longer playing Vampire Fraulein, because I found it to where you almost always go for Bolin instead of Bolin instead of Fraulein, so yeah. Your 2 ways to get into zombie worlds aren't the actual field spell. Necro World Banshee, really good. Lets you banish yourself from field or graveyard to activate zombie world from your deck or hand. Um, she's a level 4. She goes for your synchros pretty easily, and also she's a field barrier while on the field, which is definitely nice. Still the one Gozaki. I found that this was really helpful due to his send to grave effect and his when he's sent to grave effect. That gets you your Doom King a lot of the times if he's in your hand and you don't have White Destiny to get him out of your hand. But pretty decent. I still like him. No longer playing this at 3, but 2 Mezaki seems really nice for mid-game to get you your combo pieces back and go into some of your bigger, badder monsters, and that's helpful, especially if you're going for big combos. He's your extender, and it makes it really easy. He can be milled with Gozaki or Unizombie and just works fabulously. So yeah, him at 2. Then your normal zombie setup of 3 Shiranui Solitaire and 2 Unizombie. The Shiras let you go into Unas and are a pretty easy representation of just zombie combo as a whole. Unizombies, your discard and your send from deck. These are your common play starters and just work fabulously for what you're trying to do. One Bloom. I took Bloom down to 1 because Bloom, I don't know, I figured since you're playing a lot fewer high levels and you usually want Eldlich in your hand, it's just nice to have Bloom at 1 because a, it's a spot in your deck that you can easily just switch out for something else or just get rid of altogether. But yeah, she just lets you go into any of your high level zombies by banishing herself from the graveyard if you have Zombie World active, or if not, those zombies are added to your hand instead. Nice and all, but still, I think only deserving of 1 spot. Then your typical hand traps, just 2 Ash Blossom, because Ash Blossom is just your shutdown for your opponent's turn. She's really helpful for just getting rid of your opponent's combo pieces, or at least stopping those combo pieces and just leaving them on board. The Eldlich lineup, we're running 3 Cursed Eldland, because Cursed Eldland lets you go into your Eldlich combo pretty easily, unless you don't happen to have another spell or trap. It lets you just pay some points and grab Eldlich or a Golden Land spell or trap, which is going to be really nice when the new fusion spell comes out, because that's the searchable fusion for just zombies, which is cool. The only exception is you're not allowed to attack with non-zombie monsters the turn you activate while you have Eldland on your field, but that's never going to matter. Your Golden End cards are Hiquirio at 2, Conquistador at 2, and Golden End Forever at 2. I figured each of these deserved a at 2 spot because of the recurrence, being able to banish them from your graveyard, or at least Hiquirio and Conquistador, so you can set Eldlichs, banish Eldlichs to set the Golden Land cards, which is really nice. Oh, I did forget to mention, but Eldland's effect, when it's sent to the graveyard, lets you send a Golden Land card, which is also really nice. Gets you a free banish from your graveyard at the end of the turn. You got your standard Omni Negate by just tributing a zombie if Eldlich is on board. Hiquirio is a DD Crow, Conquistador is a non-targeted destroy, all worthwhile. For your Eldlichs, you're playing the 1 white Destiny, just because I think it's really good at 1, being able to get a zombie out of your hand or out of your graveyard, which is really cool. Because if you happen to have your Doom King in your hand or your Goza Key in your hand and you just really need that card on your board, you can White Destiny it and then just have some fun. Or you can just send it to the graveyard with Eldlich and then banish it to set a Conquistador or a Golden Land Forever. Just helpful. But 3 Black Awakenings because it's your special from deck, as long as you have Eldlich, or it just gets you a free Eldlich on the board. Pretty snappy, pretty easy. And then another 3 of is Scarlet Sanguine, because Scarlet Sanguine is basically Black Awakening, but on your opponent's turn. And it doesn't go from hand or deck, it goes from deck or graveyard, which is still really, really good. And they all, of course, have the same Eldlicks are effective being able to banish themselves in order to set up your next turn plays by setting golden land traps. 2 Zombie World just because I think it's a really good field spell at 2. I'm still playing against heavy spell trap removal, so if you want to run Zombie World at 1 or take out a Banshee, that's totally up to you. The deck total is 43 cards, so I can understand just getting rid of a spot to free up consistency. Zombie World changes all monsters on the fields in each grave to zombies, so works really, really nicely. Then you got your one-ofs, your Zombie World, and your Foolish to just continue your plays. No real need to explain. Then finally, Super Poly for the last spells. Super Poly being the just clear your opponent's board by discarding a card, essentially. They can't activate cards in response to it. That's spectacular. It's saved me a lot in games, so I hope it does the same for you. And then to round out the deck, 2 Solemn Strike and 2 Rivalry of Warlords. I started running Rivalry because it's a really nice floodgate, and if your opponent normal summons, you can just Rivalry off that, and then if they're not playing a zombie deck, they're kind of screwed. Because it changes, well, it prevents everyone from having monsters on the field that aren't aren't the type that they already have. So yeah, with Zombie World comboed with Rivalry, you're able to set up a really nice floodgate, and that's actually something a lot of zombie decks run, but you know, I'm a little late to the party. Moving on to the extra deck. It's pretty similar to last time, but there are some changes. Still the 1 Link Karibo. Gets your Bloom off your board. Pretty simple, being able to tribute himself to zero out a monster's points when it battles. IP Masquerena, because it lets you go into your rank 4s pretty easily. And with IP, you're able to. Ooh, sorry, tired. Prevents them from being destroyed by card effects, which is nice. And it lets you link someone in your opponent's main phase, which is really nice. A new addition to the deck, in addition to IP Masquerena, is Avenged Savior. Avenged Savior is a mill when he battles, and then also lowers your opponent's monster's attack, which is really nice. He's just a really easy way to set up another Banshee in your graveyard if you want that assurance, or a Mezuki in case you want to continue your plays during your main phase 2. Pretty good. He's a link too, which means even after you use your Eldlichs or your Blooms effect, you can still summon him because he's a zombie. So that's really nice. 2 Vampire Sucker, because Vampire Sucker is just the thing you go into with your Doom King during your second main phase so you can get a draw. Pretty self-explanatory. It also does let you tribute your opponent's monsters to tribute summon a zombie, which is cool if you happen to have like an Eldlich or Doom King, another version of field control. This is a weird choice, but it's kind of a placeholder until I can get that new fusion monster when it comes out. But Apollosa, Bow of the Goddess. This is something I pulled from one of the new sets, and I was really happy about it, so I figured I'd mess with it, and then I'm not really liking it so far, so I'm probably going to take it out. But she's a negate engine, giving herself 800 points for every monster used for her link. And she can negate an opponent's monster's effect once per chain by reducing her attack points by 800, which is really nice. Still run the Yokiona and the Boral Sword, just as really good boss monsters to benefit you in some way, plus the addition of IP Masquerena, being able to just go into either of these and have fun, or actually Apollosa as well, but I don't know, I figure Yokiona might be your better option. Your 2 Super Poly targets, your Nether Souls, just for a really nice 3k beat stick that doesn't destroy your opponent's monster and gets you another monster on your board. I think that's really nice. He's also a level 8, which is cool. Moving on to Synchro, you've got Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon and Psyframe Lord Omega. Psyframe Lord Omega is the honorary zombie, and I still think is warranting playability. Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon is just a personal favorite, and regardless of whether or not it's really competitive, I like him. But yeah, really nice cards. Into Xyz, Abyss Dweller for shutting off your opponent's graveyard, and it's really easy to go into with the number of level 4s you run, or your Unizombie who can manipulate level. New addition, Crimson Vampire Knight Braum. Because your 2 trap monsters are level 5s, Unizombie can turn stuff into level 5s. Crimson Vampire can steal an opponent's monster from their graveyard. And if he's destroyed while he still has material on himself, he can summon himself during the next standby phase. So he's pretty good, pretty simple. 2500 attack point beat stick, so that's nice. And then finally for late game, if you need to quickly hit someone for some big damage, you got Super Dreadnought Railkin and Gustav Max. Pretty easy to go into so long as you have Unizombie who's upgraded Doom King's level, or just 2 Eldliches. Or, as I said, Eldlich with Doom King, whose level was leveled up. He can detach an overlay unit to deal your opponent 2000 damage, which is really nice. Plus, he's a good old 3k beat stick. I know you really can't see it because my camera is terrible, but I think he's pretty good. Into side deck. This has also changed a bit, but it's not nearly where I want it to be. Still just playing with the best cards I have at my disposal right now. 3 Droll and Lockbird to prevent your opponent from just trying to add cards, which is still a really big thing in this game. And zombies don't really have that type of addition in their strategy. They don't have that yet. So I think it's really nice to prevent your opponent to hopefully shutting them down for a bit. A new card, Zombie Necronize, because it's our version of mind control or crackdown, and it can be reset, which means you can use Eldlich's effect to send this to graveyard and then do Eldlich combo, and then also still set this during the end phase due to its own effect by shuffling one banished zombie into the deck. All you need to do to actually use it is have a level 5 or above zombie, and you're running 4, which is still fine. And even if not, you could use Unizombie's level to upgrade himself by 2, and then just zombie necronize, and then take control of an opponent's monster. We're running spell trap removal now. Twin Twisters, just A, it's a discard, B, it's getting rid of 2 spell traps on your opponent's board. It's really, really good. Or even if you wanted to destroy your own, like Cursed Eldland to send to grave, or one of your Eldixirs or Golden Lands to get the other type out of your deck, I can see why that might be useful. But primarily for your opponent's cards. The one called by, because called by is now at 1, which is kind of sad, but not anything we can really do anything about, so I mean, I guess it's still an option to try and prevent your opponent from hand trapping you, or any form of monster effect, I guess. An additional super poly, just in case your opponent's running heavy monsters. I think another super poly is just a decent idea. Just to reiterate, it's using monsters from either player's field, and neither player can activate effects in response to it. That's pretty grand. Still running the 3 judgments. Still really love my secret rare one. But it's just an Omni Negate, and if it wins you the game, it wins you the game. If not, it doesn't. I hope it does. Another new addition is Evenly Matched for background decks. Oh, back row decks, sorry. Um, it just, after the end of the battle phase, uh, each player selects cards until they have the same number of cards on field. The rest of those get banished face down, which is really good, because if your opponent's got a lot of setup and you evenly match them, you can blow them up. Plus, evenly match can activate from hand, which is really nice. And then finally your Swallow Slash, just as your last pop 2. And granted, you do have to banish a Shiranui, but if it's going to be life-saving, you might as well, because Shiranui's not that big a deal. You just get to your primary player. Other than that, that's the entire deck. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know I've been a little shaky. I am recording this on a phone because I don't have a camera. I'm pretty new to this, but I hope you have a good day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.